This episode contains discussion of graphic violence, sexual assault, murder, and cult-like ritual abuse. Listener discretion is strongly advised. In the early 1980s, a series of women vanished from the streets of Chicago. They were young, often snatched in broad daylight, and their disappearances left few clues. What police would eventually uncover wasn't a lone killer, but a small group of men working together, coordinated, brutal, and unlike anything investigators had seen before. Their crime shocked even veteran detectives, and the way they operated raised more questions than answers. Who are they? How did they come together? And how did they keep it going for as long as they did? I'm Logan.
And I'm Ben.
This is Tinfoil Talk. Let's talk to me about this disease you have all over your body.
So, it's not a disease, and it's not all over my body. However, I will tell you about it. It is itchy, and it is unpleasant, and I'm ready for it to be gone.
You said it's essentially like poison oak?
Yeah.
Is that what I gathered?
I had to end up going to a fast-paced. Well, to recap the whole sketch thing here, I was mowing one day last week, Monday, Tuesday maybe, and there's these little fruits that grow in a tree right out here in our yard, like on the side of the house, and it drops these fruits once the weather starts to turn, as it is. Mm-hmm. I'm mowing. I run over a big clump of these fruits, kind of explodes under the mower, goes everywhere, covers me.
Damn. And
it just so happens that I guess I'm allergic. I don't know. I had to walk into one of those, or I had to go to one of those walk-in clinic, like the fast-paced things, and they prescribed me like a steroid deal with like a cream. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, now I can't drink alcohol. I mean, I can sip. It's not going to hurt me.
He's going to be sober for the rest of his life.
Oh, please. No way. Got to be sober for a week.
When I was a kid, I got poison oak, poison ivy really bad, like to the point where I was airborne to it. Didn't even have to make contact. Like if I was near it, it would just like eat my arms up, get between my fingers and such. Brutal stuff.
Luckily, this is contact. I forget it's contact something they call it. Like you have to touch it for it to like irritate your skin. And the woman, this was just my theory. That's where this came from, was those fruits out there. The lady at the fast pace said she had no idea what it was. Said she had never really seen it broken out in the pattern that it was broken out. And she told me if it's not healed up at the end of the steroid pill usage, that I need to see a dermatologist.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's like on your elbow.
It's like neck. It's on my neck. My neck was the worst of it. It's clearing up, thankfully.
Yeah.
I would say it looks, I don't know if you can see it, but
no, not really.
Probably looks a lot better than it did. Because you were here, a week ago today.
Yeah.
You were here, and it was pretty bad then. I don't think it was on... Was it on my arms last week? Do you remember?
It was on, like, the crease in your elbow.
Okay. So it spread down my arm a little bit, and then down my right arm, or left and right arm, and then onto my hands some. Yeah. Wow. But it's starting to clear up, I think. It's definitely clearing up on my neck.
Yeah. It's less noticeable than it was, for sure.
Yeah. It's good to hear. What is this tube you're sniffing over here? We both got things happening. What's that?
This is a Vicks inhaler. Clear, stuffy nose due to colds. I get allergies pretty rough this time of year. I'm sure you can tell on the audio.
Yeah.
Sounds better than it did. Hopefully it's not too bad. I had a lot of cough drops and a lot of water today. And then this tube I've been sniffing on the way over.
You mind if I take a gander at the tube?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm not going to sniff or nothing, but...
How about it?
I'm good. Thanks, though. I don't want to... I've been trying to quit. I appreciate it, though.
It's Vicks.
Oh, look at that. Inhaler. When I think of inhaler, I think, obviously, of asthma.
Yeah. And then, you're supposed to, like, put it on your nose and then, like, take a big sniff.
Okay.
I've used it like smelling salts.
If you really huff it, can you get a little lightheaded, maybe?
It's Vicks. Like, it's not... I don't think there's... it's camphor and menthol, so you're not going to get, like, anything off of it.
You smoke it.
No, you don't. You just sniff it. It clears up your sinuses.
I'm joking.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, hopefully this is cleared up. I'm sick of itching. It's kept me up the last 3-4 nights. It's brutal, yeah. Not fun. I would compare it to, like, poison oak, though.
Yeah. See, what's interesting, you have it on your elbow, which is where I would get it a lot when I was a kid.
It's hard to get it out of the creases.
Yeah.
because you're bending a lot.
Yep.
And so but the crazy part is it hasn't spread. Like usually if you get it in the crease of your elbow, it'll move to other parts of your arm.
Mm-hmm.
But this hasn't.
Yeah.
It's just right there and then where the arm touches. Super weird.
There are people that are listening to this episode for the first time. Like, this is the first they've heard of it. This is their first impression, and they've already stopped listening.
You know they've turned it off for sure.
Yeah.
Like, there's no chance they're like, oh, yeah, these guys. Not only is their sound quality disgusting, they're talking about nothing I want to hear.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's get to what we're known for.
Oh, yeah.
Show me this beer.
Let's get to what we're nationally famous for doing.
Yep.
I'm going to hand it. Oh, my God.
You dumbass.
Ah. Shit. Okay, we'll clean that up later. That is a disaster.
What happened exactly?
I don't know. It's sitting on an empty Dorito bag, and I guess it was leaning. I didn't realize it. Well, here, you take the full one, actually.
Oh, you spilled that one. Okay.
Yeah,
That's 2 weeks in a row we've had a beer disaster.
You know, not a lot of it spilled, though. I'm actually impressed.
That's more suds than anything.
Yeah, not much of it spilled. So,
Anyways.
This is... It's all in German, so I'm probably saying it wrong. Paulaner München?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but it's a lager.
Original Munich lager since 1634.
Wow. You know, I didn't notice that when I bought them.
Wow.
Quality and heritage brewed with uncompromising standards that strictly adhere to the... What the hell does that say? The
Where are you at?
Reinheitsgebot? I don't know. Anyway. Using only 4 ingredients. Water, hops, yeast, and malt for nearly 400 years.
I'm excited. Brewed in Munich, 4.9% alcohol.
Wow. We may have just stumbled upon a gem here if it's got a good taste to it.
We may have. Let's see.
Let's do. Clink and drink.
It's very underwhelming.
Yeah, I'm let down, to say the least. I mean, it's 4 ingredients. So you go back 400 years, this was probably the greatest thing to ever happen. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to give it to you because I can drink no more due to my...
Well, I'll take down both of these, and I have 2 Busch Lights that I'll also partake in.
All right. You do what you got to do. I'm going to sip on my water.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, that is... I'm going to give that... Oh, and we just recorded... I'm not sure when you're going to hear the episode of Cindy James. We did not rate that beer either. Did not give it a score.
We'll have to make a post about that.
Yes, we will. I'm going to give this one a 5.0 out of 10. It is about as average as it can be.
I'm going to give it half a point for, I guess, how historical this bottle looks.
400 years is a long time.
400 years is the same exact recipe you've been using. Yeah. So, 5.5.
Okay.
Could use more flavor.
Yeah, it's 4 ingredients, so it's probably not going to be just bursting with flavor, but I would like a little more.
We don't have any listeners in Germany as of October of 25, so...
There's also no telling when this episode's going to hit the air.
Yeah,
so.
This is going to be vaulted.
Yeah.
One with Brandon Swanson.
Yes.
Well...
Here we are. Tell me about the Chicago Ripper Crew, because it's not often we have to put a discretion warning at the beginning of our shows. I have purposely avoided this outline because I did not want to read anything about it. I want to be surprised as we go.
Yeah.
And I'm unfamiliar with it, so I'm excited.
Well, I'll say the beer review is about as much fun as we're going to have. It's not a fun story, not going to be a lot of room for us to quip and get little jokes in. We're just going to tell the story and pontificate on what we think went down.
Okay.
I do want to warn you one more time before we really get into it. Definitely use some discretion when you listen to this. If you have your kids in the room or anything like that, definitely wouldn't let them listen to this. We're going to talk about sexual assault. We're going to talk about murder and some cult-like rituals. So if that's not something you want to hear, wouldn't go any further than this. And with that, we'll get into it.
All right, man. We'll see. I don't want to hear that, so I'm going to step out.
Okay, all right.
Take us away, Captain.
Robin Gecht was born November 30th, 1953, reportedly in Menard, Illinois. Though there is no solid documentation confirming his exact place of birth, very little is known about his childhood or relationship with his parents. His sister would later allege that Gecht molested her when they were children. According to her account, this accusation led to him being sent to live with his grandparents, though this remains unverified.
I mean, damn. If it's to a point to where you're having to move, I'd say the odds are not in your favor that you didn't do it.
Well, again, that's unverified.
That's what I'm saying. But if the parents made him move out of the house,
When we don't know what happened.
Right.
We don't know what happened. I want to stress like how little information there is on Gecht, his childhood at least. Like, we'll get into where we actually start tracking him, but safe to say childhood to 17, we know his date of birth and about where he was born. That's it. That's all we have. That's all we can say for sure.
Fair enough.
After Gecht's arrest, reports surfaced suggesting that he had been abused by his parents as well. But again, no credible evidence has ever substantiated these claims.
Wait, after his arrest, what did he get arrested for?
This in the future. Just in the future.
Okay.
After he eventually gets arrested.
Oh, just for some whatever crime.
Yeah.
Okay.
What can be confirmed is that by the early 1970s, Gecht was living independently and surviving on odd jobs. By the late 1970s, he had secured more stable work in construction and electrical trades, eventually working for PDM Contractors. PDM Contractors, the company where Gecht worked, was owned by John Wayne Gacy.
There is absolutely no possible way that there is not some sort of connection there. Like, I mean, because Gacy, obviously his name is super famous, but
he's on my list of people I want to cover.
He was the one who murdered the little boys, right? He pretended to be the clown.
Yes.
Put the little boys like under his house or whatever, or in his backyard.
Yeah.
Stop, that's dark, man.
Yeah.
That'd be tough to cover, I think.
It'd be tough to cover, but people have done it before. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Gecht thrived in this job. He was considered hardworking, intelligent, and well-liked by the clients. With his finances stabilizing, he began a relationship with a waitress named Rosemary. After only a few months of dating, the two were married at the courthouse, and they eventually had 3 children together.
We're starting off good. Kind of like this Gecht guy so far.
Yeah, that might change.
Think so?
Yeah. Around this time, Gecht also became fascinated with the wave of satanic panic that swept through the culture. He read heavily on dark magic, sacrificial rituals, ancient torture methods, and even cannibalism. After his arrest years later, he admitted that these readings fueled troubling fantasies long before the Ripper crew came together. At home in the attic of the house he shared with Rosemary and their children, Gecht created a shrine to Satan and secretly carried out rituals. Outwardly, however, he appeared to friends and family as a quiet, devoted husband and father. So cracks are forming.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that. I don't know anything about, like, the Satanism thing. I don't really care to know anything about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not that, like, again, I'm ignorant to whatever it is. It is opposing to what most people around here believe. Yeah. However, when you start throwing in sacrificial rituals and ancient torture methods and cannibalism, it's not looking good.
Well, you're essentially living a double life apart from the facade you're showing to your family and friends.
I mean, this was in the attic of the house.
This was in the attic of the house.
Did the family know about?
He did not let his wife or his kids go to the attic. It was understood it was off limits. You don't go up there.
Okay.
And the Gacy connection, like, it is very odd. He worked for John Wayne Gacy. I don't want to lead you or the listeners to believe they were like friends.
Right. Just happenstance, I guess.
Gacy owned PDM Contractors. Gecht worked for PDM Contractors. That's about the depth of their relationship.
Okay.
So,
were they aware? Like, did they know each other?
I mean, yeah, they knew of each other, but
interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if they knew of each other. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I doubt it.
If each one knew of the other's like doings.
Interesting you asked that. We'll get into it.
Okay.
Despite this outward image, Geck's personal life was far from stable. He pursued affairs with underage girls, some as young as 15, outside his marriage, and was reported to have pressured some partners into unsettling and aggressive requests.
Welp.
Yeah.
I don't really like this Geck guy too much anymore.
So some of those requests, his happened with Rosemary as well. She allegedly went along with it for a little bit, and then she kind of cut it off. But he wanted to poke their breasts specifically with like pins, and he allegedly asked some of the underage girls if he could just outright stab them in the breast.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to agree to that. First of all, why are you with underage girls?
Yeah, not great.
Like, I mean, that's
not great.
Yeah, we're not. We're going down a bad road here.
We won't delve too much into that because it's a small part of the story, but it stands to reason as it's not gonna get any better.
Great.
Not gonna get any better. Rosemary was aware of his infidelities, but whether due to her Catholic convictions, she was a very devout Catholic.
So she knew he was sleeping with children?
She knew.
Well,
she knew.
Fuck her too, then.
This was in 1978. I'm not condoning it, but the age of consent in most states in 78 was like 15, even 14 in some states.
Yuck.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. So it's creepy by today's standards, even creepy back then, because why are you going after a 15-year-old girl?
I would say it's not even creepy. Today, I would say it's whatever's worse than creepy.
Well, yeah.
Like it's maybe not. I would say like a federal offense. You should go to prison for a long time.
Like most people do that partake in that.
Probably.
Well, okay, yeah.
The ones that maybe aren't powerful do.
Okay, moving right on.
Moving along. But shame on Rosemary for knowing that he's doing this. And
I mean, I agree. I tend to agree with that. But she was a very devout Catholic, and whether she believed it was a sin or it went against her beliefs, she remained with him. So she's on board up until this point. In 1978, when John Wayne Gacy was finally arrested for his crimes, Geck became fixated on his case. His obsession with the details of Gacy's downfall may have served as the inspiration for what he would go on to do next.
Not a good outlook if John Wayne Gacy is your inspiration.
No. We're going to continuously just get worse and worse. I'll be honest with you.
Hit me with your best shot, pal.
In 1980, Gecht met Edward Spreitzer. Spreitzer was younger than Gecht and had a criminal record. Spreitzer quickly fell under his influence. Gecht offered him a job and even allowed him to live in the family home. He stepped into a mentor-like role that soon resembled something closer to a cult leader. So Gecht was a very charismatic, outgoing kind of guy.
Bundy type fellow.
Bundy, I would actually say more like Dave Koresh.
Oh.
I would go more that charismatic.
Okay. So people are flocking to, not only are you good at like getting them in your vicinity, but they want to flock to you.
He's relatively traditionally attractive man. He has his own contracting company at this point. He's making good money. He has a family. He seems like he exudes confidence, and that drew people to him.
Okay. And I'm assuming that Edward Spreitzer here is going to be interested in similar things that... Yeah.
So really, with Ed and the other members we'll get into, these were outcast. Edward Spreitzer was an outcast, and Gecht gave him attention. Really, for the first time in probably Edward's life, he was getting attention from someone, and he enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, you do whatever you got to do to keep that attention.
Yeah, I mean, he gave him a job, gave him a place to live. Of course, you're gonna feel indebted to him. Yeah,
it's kind of like the DC Sniper. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that or not, but the kid that ended up doing all of the killing he was being groomed by the man that brought him to America.
Yeah.
Just you finally get that love and affection you've always wanted, and they just want you to do terrible things to keep getting it, and so you do those terrible things.
Well, Geck's charisma played a major part in this dynamic. Outgoing, manipulative, and highly attuned to others, he had a way of shaping himself into exactly what people around him wanted to see. This made him effective in earning trust and loyalty. So I hinted earlier in the week that we were going to kind of get into psychology. I think we're dealing with like the first true sociopath we've covered so far. Like he very emotionally intelligent. He just knew what people wanted to view him as, and he adapted, and he became that for them.
So he was capable of doing whatever. Yeah. And that is, I think it's a pretty good indicator of intelligence, is being able to mold yourself into something that people recognize as successful and a role model.
For sure.
Even though behind the scenes you are the exact opposite. Yeah. It's a lot of successful serial killers that get away with it for a long time. This is always a common theme. Yeah. Is they're very intelligent and good at masking what they really are.
It wasn't long before Geck also crossed paths with Andrew and Thomas Kokorales. Like Spritzer, the Kokorales brothers were young, troubled, and without direction. Geck gave them jobs as well, drawing them into his orbit and setting the stage for what would become the Ripper crew. So we now have Edward Spritzer and then Andrew and Tommy, as he was called a lot, Kokorales.
Collecting the Infinity Stones over here.
It's not great.
No.
Not great. Same kind of deal. He brought him in, gave him a job, gave him money. And again, he was exactly what they wanted him to be. And we have a cult, essentially. At this point, we have a cult.
Yeah.
In fact, by this point, Gecht had cultivated a cult-like hold over the younger men. Ed, Andrew, and Tommy seemed willing to do almost anything to earn his approval. Recognizing their loyalty, Gecht introduced them to the satanic shrine he had built in his attic and began drawing them into the rituals he performed there.
So, could you imagine how old were the other three younger men? Like, when you say younger, are they like teenage or 20s?
I think late teens, early 20s.
Late teens, early 20s.
I had it somewhere, but I forgot.
Imagine you're in like 19, 20-year-old, like you, and you go to get your first job, and you're just like, okay, I'm going to go work for this guy, owns a construction company, role model, family, nice house, blah, 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 right? The quintessential successful man for the time period. Everything starts great, and then one day he's like, guys, I want to show you something. Takes you up into the attic of his home, and there is a satanic shrine. What is your next move?
Hey man, I don't mind working for you. I'd like to continue working for you. In fact, I don't really want to go see your Satan shrine. It's not really something I want to delve into with you.
I think out of fear, I would act completely interested until it was time to go home, and then I would never go around him again. I would no call, no show for that job.
Just find a different job.
Yeah, I would move the fuck on. Like, I would have nothing to do with this. And it's not that, right, because the cannibalism, ancient torture methods, like, I don't care who you are, what you believe in. I'm not cool with that. So,
I feel like up until the Satan stuff, this happens a lot. Like, right out of high school, you get your first real job. You have a young, not even seemingly, a very successful boss.
Yeah.
Not like that much older than you.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, hey, this guy's cool. Like, I'm gonna try to gain some favor with him. I'm gonna work hard, show up to work on time, do all those good things. Hopefully, he'll keep me on and give me more opportunity.
Right. When you think too, like, okay, he's the owner, he's young. Like, I'll start with him now.
Yeah.
Who's to say 10, 15 years from now, he's got a super, like, conglomerate construction company, and I'm going to be one of the ones helping him run it.
I mean, this isn't an abnormal occurrence so far, up until the Satan stuff, of course.
Yeah, I mean, outside of cannibalism and ancient torture rituals. This is completely normal behavior.
To me, him bringing, of course, like, just because you have a criminal record doesn't mean, like, you're going to be a criminal for the rest of your life.
No, of course not.
But it is weird, him knowing these three men had criminal records. He brought them into the house with his wife and his three kids. 3 young kids, I would add.
Well, you got to put yourself into the mind of somebody who clearly doesn't value life the way we do. Right?
This, to me, is the first red flag.
I mean, he's sleeping with underage girls, and like already we know that he's not a good person. So
yeah, you're right. It didn't take long for Gecht to push the group from ritualistic worship into fulfilling his darker fantasies. In 1981, the men loaded into what would become the now infamous red van and began patrolling Chicago's streets in search of vulnerable women. Their first confirmed victim was 26-year-old Linda Sutton, spotted walking near Wrigley Field on June 1st. The van pulled up, and the men forced her inside. For hours, she was assaulted and tortured while Gecht orchestrated the violence. His intent wasn't immediate murder, it was to enact his sadistic fantasies. When the crew finally abandoned her in a field in Villa Park, Linda was left to die. Back at Gecht's home, her mutilation was incorporated into the group's satanic rituals. Her body was not discovered until nearly a week later, and due to the extent of her injuries, it took another 3 weeks for her to be identified.
So this is an instant escalation.
Yes.
Like this went from 3, ex-cons or whatever trying to find work to Gecht going, hey, look, I worship Satan and perform rituals, to all 4 of them being on the same page and agreeing to go murder a woman. Was there any thing before this, or did they all just agree, hey, let's go get somebody now, and the 4 of them are just...
So, not what I found. What I found, it played out exactly like that. Gecht recruited the 3, they worked for him for some time, and then he felt confident enough that he had this grip on them that he could introduce them to his satanic rituals. And I want to be clear, they didn't immediately, like that day, go and
right. No, I didn't mean
Sutton.
like that. Like as soon as he showed them all this shrine and stuff, that they were like, "Yep, let's go load up the van and start." But like for all 4 of them, for all 3 of them to be in agreement, I guess. Like all that would have taken was for one of them to be like, "Yeah, let's go do that," and then go straight to the police.
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds you meet 3 other? I mean, like, psychopaths.
I really want to reinforce the cult-like hold Gecht had over these 3 young men.
Man.
They were complicit, of course. Like, you don't do that and not be complicit, but Gecht was handedly in control of all 3 of them.
And, it's not that surprising. It's not like we don't see heads of cults having control over people today. I mean, you look at Charles Manson, any other, like David Koresh, like the list goes on, but I guess it's not super surprising. I guess the speed at which this happened, I guess, is honestly kind of surprising to me.
Yeah.
That they went from don't even know each other to picking up a woman and murdering her.
So I don't see it. I thought I added it. I want to add it now just so we have a precedence for what is about to happen. Gecht specifically, like, he was in charge. Everything they did is because he wanted it to be done. He took piano wire and he essentially cut off Linda Sutton's left breast. And that's what they used for their rituals. They cannibalized it. They hung it up on the wall next to the shrine. Very, very dark stuff.
Yeah, this is getting into some unfamiliar territory.
Yeah, we've never covered anything like this.
No, I've never even been exposed to anything like this.
Yeah.
So this is all new for me, and I don't like the way it's making me feel.
Yeah. We won't go into too much detail. We should.
Not like, I didn't mean to make it sound like I have like a weak stomach.
No,
it's just this is hearing like with the cutting off a woman's breast and like where do you even get the mindset to do that? Like that is.
It must have been in some of those books Gecht found.
Yeah, it must be.
And read.
Do we have any sort of like sourcing as to what like material he was reading?
I'm
like,
sure you could find it. I didn't want to look too deep.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
If that's something you want to learn more about, don't recommend it. But I mean, we're not going to give you that information here.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that's about as deep as we're going to go on what happened to Linda Sutton. She went through something that all these women went through something that no one should ever have to even imagine going through. So we're not going to recount that in full detail here. There's plenty of podcasts out there, plenty of documentaries. If you want to learn more, go find those. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean that's completely fair. Like it gets to a point already where it's just vile. Like there's not really a word that we would use to describe what I imagine is about to unfold.
Yeah. Over the following year, the crew claimed responsibility for up to 18 murders, but the next victim definitively linked to them was 21-year-old Lori Borowski on May 15th of 1982, so more than a year later. We actually have our confirmed second victim.
Okay.
But in that time, in the year between, they claimed to have killed up to 18.
I believe them.
We'll discuss that at the end.
Yeah.
We'll discuss the validity of that.
Okay.
Lori was a secretary at a real estate office. She was abducted while opening her workplace, subjected to the same treatment as Sutton. She was left barely alive in a cemetery near Clarendon Hills. Her body remained undiscovered for 5 months.
For 5 months?
5 months.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
How was she not found for 5 months?
I couldn't tell you.
Wow.
It was near that cemetery. I think I could be way off on this. There was a funeral that was happening, and then someone smelled something that wasn't right. Then they went and investigated.
Wow.
5 months later.
5 months. How in the world? Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
The murders continued in rapid succession. Shui or Shu Mok, age 30. She was abducted May 29th. Her body was found 4 months later. Angel York, 23, was abducted June 13th. She miraculously survived after being thrown from the red van and later gave police descriptions of her attackers, though she didn't give a description of the red van, which limited the investigators at the time.
Yeah, understandable. Like, not really paying attention to the color of the car you're in. You're just trying to stay alive.
Sandra Delaware, age 18, was abducted August 28th. Her body was found days later in the Chicago River. And then we have Rose Beck Davis. She was abducted September 8th. She was fatally stabbed after prolonged abuse. Her body was later discovered in an alleyway.
So I'm guessing it kind of goes just without saying that the torment and torture that all of these women endured by these four men, was it in the van the whole time, or did they take them somewhere?
Yes, so all of the abductions took place in the van. All of the women that we just outlined, what they did to Linda Sutton, they cut off the left breast, and then they used the breast in their rituals, and they cannibalized what they took, and then they just dumped them wherever.
And they did this to each of these women?
Yes.
Good grief, man.
Yep.
Like, what are you gaining from this?
Yeah. Because of that, each victim had the left breast amputated. The investigators recognized a pattern. All the victims were abducted alone. None were robbed. All of them still had their valuables on them.
So this is just for the sake of doing it?
Yep.
Jeez.
Yep. And they all bore the same signature mutilation. The victims came from varied backgrounds. Lori was a secretary. Shui, a factory worker. Rose was a marketing executive for a local department store, while Linda, Angel, and Sandra were sex workers. The mix of victims complicated the investigation, and in 1982, societal stigma towards sex workers may have furthered hindered urgency.
You see that a lot too.
Unfortunately, you see that in a lot of serial killer cases.
I mean, most of your, and again, I'm saying successful serial killers, which not a great term, but the ones that get away with it for the longest usually go after sex workers because they're just not a demographic that the police.
Gary Ridgway, case in point.
Yeah, they weren't cared about the way that the rest of society was, and it's unfortunate, and it's why that a lot of these serial killers got away with it for as long as they did.
And I do think that had something to do with it, as far as the police maybe not being so urgent, but the extent in which the bodies were decayed when they were found, that truthfully hindered the investigation.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you have to figure out first who this even is.
Yeah. And then days later, I'm sure, after the killer's long gone, you can start figuring out who did it.
Yeah. It's not a great situation all around. And I can't say for sure Chicago PD was actually trying their best, but there were true hurdles they had to get over.
For sure, yeah.
So, meanwhile, Geck's personal life was unraveling. His construction contracts were drying up, forcing Rosemary to work extra shifts to support the family. This financial decline may have further fueled his anger and need for control. Doubts within the group were growing. By the fall of 1982, Spreitzer and the Cocorales brothers were uneasy about the killings and rituals, but they continued to follow Gecht. On October 6th, the group escalated again, this time striking in public.
Probably not the smartest thing to do.
We'll talk about this one. I have thoughts on this, but we'll save everything for the end when we do our wrap up.
Okay.
They spotted 28-year-old Rafael Tirado sitting on his porch with a friend. Gecht opened fire with a shotgun, killing Tirado and critically injuring the other man. Later that same night, Gecht acted alone. He lured 18-year-old Beverly Washington, a sex worker, into the van. She admitted to being very skeptical about Gecht. He was unhinged at this point, all over the place. She didn't want to go with him, but he said he was going to pay her like twice what she would usually charge. So, 18 years old, you're trying to survive. So,
yeah. So unfortunate, man. It's one of those things like, what do you do?
Yeah. Once inside, she was bound, sedated, and tortured, and left near railroad tracks. Grievously injured, but alive. So she survived the attack. Keep in mind, she had the same mutilation we've been discussing on all the victims.
Sheesh, man. Yeah. Oh my God.
And with piano wire.
Like, I'm assuming this is while they're awake. Obviously no anesthetic of any kind. You're just straight up chopping off somebody's body part with a piano wire.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep.
That's just devious.
Against all odds, Beverly survived. Though unable to speak, she communicated with detectives by writing and blinking, giving them descriptions of both Gecht and the distinctive red van, complete with curtains and feathers hanging from the rearview mirror. For the first time, police had a tangible lead.
Good grief, man.
So because Beverly Washington somehow survived the attack, we now know what vehicle we're looking for. And it's a very distinct vehicle you're looking for. Yeah. Probably not many of those rolling around.
Why could she not speak?
She was,
just in such bad shape.
Figure trauma. Gecht had to have beaten her. Like, she was tortured. She was essentially tortured for hours.
Gosh, man.
And then just dumped on the side of the road. But thanks to her, we now know who we're looking for.
Yeah, which it's one of those things too, where in that situation, like when you see the movies where somebody is tortured so rigorously that they just wish for death.
Yeah.
Like there's like, please just kill me. Like just get this over with.
I can't imagine a world where she was not at that point.
Yeah, and she ends up living. Yeah. And now unfortunately for her, she has to live with that. Yeah. Like you have to probably relive it every day. every
There's
night.
no way you forget something like that.
No, absolutely
For as
not.
long as you live.
That's one of those things that, I mean, that's what drives people mad.
Yeah, for sure.
You're ruining someone's life no matter what.
And this, I mean, there's no point to any serial killer. This was sexual gratification for Gecht.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's all this was.
Yeah.
He recruited his Ripper crew. They all, for whatever reason, decided they were going to go help him do all of this. And it's just something he liked doing.
Yeah. Used the satanic religion to justify.
Well, I do believe that. I think he was actually into the satanic stuff.
Well, because it lined up with what he believed in.
Yeah.
So
it's pleasure principle.
Just a coping mechanism for you believe something and you find whatever fits those beliefs and you run with it.
Yeah. The break in the case came when Edward Spritzer was pulled over while driving in the red van alone. He was taken into custody and questioned about the abduction of Beverly Washington. He immediately implicated Gecht, telling investigators the van belonged to his boss. With this lead, police placed the group under surveillance. Under pressure, Spritzer and the Cocorales brothers eventually identified Gecht as their ringleader. When authorities searched Gecht's home, they discovered a satanic shrine. Combined with survivor testimony from Beverly Washington and the confessions of his followers, investigators had the evidence they needed to bring the group down. Before we get into the trial, I'm going to set a precedent for you.
Okay.
This isn't going to go how you think it's going to go.
What do you mean?
You're not going to like it.
If you mean by I'm not going to like it, the only way I'm not going to like this is if anybody at any point, I'm going to say, not necessarily has the opportunity to walk free, but if as of today is currently walking free, then you are correct. I'm not going to like this.
We'll get into it. Do you have what do you make of this at this point?
I mean, you mean like elaborate on that question a little bit.
So I feel like we've kind of just breezed through all of this just to lay out the story. But this is so, you compare this to other serial killers, other murderous groups. They were likened, I forget which detective said this, but the detective said the Ripper crew makes Manson look like a Boy Scout.
Well, Manson never killed anybody.
Well, the Manson family.
You're right. And I didn't mean that in a defense of Charles Manson. I just meant literally Charles Manson never killed anybody. Now, his family and his followings were responsible for a whole lot of death. But he himself...
It's funny you said Manson never killed anybody.
He didn't.
Because we're going to get into that, how that ties into this case.
Okay. But what I make of this, back to your original question, it seems like these four were kind of almost like destined to meet. Because usually, if you have a serial killer tandem or a group, if there is a group, it's a group that maybe grew up together, or it's brothers. The Bondurant twins, from right here in the town where we live.
Yep.
Twin brothers. Obviously, they're twins. They think the same. They have the same thoughts, same desires, all that good stuff. But in this case, you have four completely, which two of these guys are brothers. But you have two brothers, one unknown, and then the ringleader. And all four of them are perfectly okay with doing all these things. And that to me, I think, is the most boggling part.
I think that speaks to
his persuasive ability.
How psychotic he was.
Yeah.
How sociopathic he was, rather.
Yeah.
Because he knew what he wanted to do. He knew what he wanted to do. Mm-hmm. He knew how to present himself to Ed Spritzer, to get Ed Spritzer on board. How to present himself to the Cocorales brothers to get them on board. Once he had them in this cult-like grip, then he introduced the satanic stuff.
Which is crazy to me because I try and put myself in the shoes of somebody who's being convinced to mutilate a body. And I don't think there's anything you could say to me to convince me to do that. I mean, unless you had undeniable proof that unless I do it, my entire family is going to be killed. Like, I'm like, no, I'm not.
Well, I mean, these three, they really had no family. They were loners.
Still,
they were outcasts.
You would love for common sense or logical thinking, critical thinking to kick in, maybe, and be like, wait a minute, we shouldn't sacrifice people to Satan.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
No matter what your upbringing is or your religious beliefs, I feel like you just shouldn't be doing that. It's just in general.
It's probably a good rule of thumb to follow in life.
I feel like it's, if you don't ever do anything, just at least don't kill people.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah.
That's a t-shirt if I've ever heard one.
Wise words from the two smartest men in this room right now. Let's get to the outcomes of the trial. Is this going to piss me off?
It might.
Okay.
Andrew Kokorales was convicted of the murder of Rose Beck Davis and the aggravated kidnapping of Linda Sutton. He was sentenced to death and executed by lethal injection in 1999.
I'm very pleased with that.
His brother Thomas Kokorales pled guilty to the murder of Lorraine Borowski and received a 70-year sentence. He was paroled in 2019.
I'm not so proud of that. How are you out?
Lorraine Borowski's family, understandably so, is very, very upset with this decision.
Yeah.
I don't know how he was eligible for parole for murder. He was convicted of murder.
First-degree murder. I'm assuming there was torturing.
I think.
What about all the other women they murdered? What?
We'll get into that.
Okay.
I think it was a straight-up first-degree murder. But you got convicted of murder.
Yeah.
The man who just had the same conviction with aggravated kidnapping tacked on got the death penalty. How do you not get the death penalty?
There are very, very, very few cases where I don't think murder warrants a life sentence without the possibility of parole. This sure as hell is not one of them.
No, I believe all four of these men should have been put to death for their crimes.
Well, and personally speaking, I'm against the death penalty. I would much rather somebody live a life in a concrete box of just torment than to just be given a free pass to death.
Maybe.
It's my personal opinion. I don't have anything wrong with killing monsters, but for me, if you're a monster, I would rather you live the next 70 years of your life in a 8x8 concrete block, never see the sunlight, once a day you get a meal, no human interaction, until you just go crazy.
That's fair.
That's what I'd rather happen to somebody like this.
That's fair. Edward Spritzer was sentenced to death for the murders of Linda Sutton, Shui Mock, Sandra Delaware, Rosebeck Davis, and Rafael Tirado. His sentence was commuted in 2003 to life without parole. I don't really understand that either. If you just killed another man for lesser charge, he had one first-degree murder charge. Ed had 5.
Yeah, how did Andrew Kokorales get executed for killing one person? But Spritzer killed 1, 2, like you just said, 5. What?
Yeah, he was originally sentenced to death. It was a mayor or some politician in Illinois commuted his sentence in 2003 for some reason.
For what?
Makes no sense.
Yeah, how do you commute that?
I should have put his name in here because people should know about that.
Yeah, we should know who that is. What the hell is that about?
Yes. Then we go to the ringleader, Robin Gecht. He was convicted only of the rape and mutilation of Beverly Washington. No forensic evidence tied him directly to the murders. And because he never confessed, unlike everyone else in the Ripper crew, he was never charged for them. He was sentenced to 120 years in prison without the possibility of parole. So essentially a life sentence.
Yeah, I don't hate his sentencing. I mean, he obviously, I feel like rape and mutilation. But she didn't die, though. Beverly lived. Yeah, I don't hate that sentencing. I mean, he obviously should have been put to death for being the ringleader. But, I mean, that's a U.S. court for you. If you can't prove it, without a reasonable doubt, then...
Okay. Can you?
I mean, no.
We're going to get into that.
As far as I may not have all the information, but
repeat what you just said. Just for clarity, repeat what you just said.
if you cannot prove that any one of these four men, 100% killed these people without a confession, right? First three men confessed. Robin did not confess.
Yep.
If there's no evidence tying him to the murders exactly, the only thing you have is Beverly saying, yes, he raped and mutilated me.
Yeah. For Beverly, you have an eyewitness account.
Yeah.
You can't make up the van that you saw.
Right.
Like,
no,
that is a very specific description.
And she gave a description of him.
She was not able to positively identify Gecht.
Mm.
But either way, she didn't die.
Yeah.
So you can't get him for murder on that because she didn't die.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he got 120 years without possibility of parole.
These are just kind of my final thoughts on this. There was zero forensic evidence tying the Ripper crew to Torado, just their admission.
So I wonder why they would. It also didn't fit their MO. They shot him, right?
That's not what they do.
You think they just took credit for it for the hell of it? Like
that, I think they knew of it. I think Chicago PD wanted to close the case because they admitted this case was going nowhere before the Ripper crew admitted to it.
Who is that serial killer who confessed? It's to like 80. I forget where it is, but he ended up he just started confessing to murders that way, that were cold cases. That way, literally, the PD could just start closing these cases.
It was Henry Lee Lucas, wasn't it?
Maybe that sounds right. There was no evidence.
Yeah.
Half of them he couldn't even give details.
Yeah.
There he was just like, yeah, I did it, and then they just closed the case.
So the Torado murder again doesn't fit their MO. They were going exclusively after women, and it was a ritualistic type of killing. Torado was shot with a shotgun,
and they left him there, right?
They left him there. The other man that lived didn't identify the van. It was a drive-by shooting. I mean, it could have been anybody in Chicago.
Yeah,
could have been gang violence for all we know.
Yeah.
I don't think the Ripper crew killed Rafael Torado. I think Chicago PD wanted to close the case.
Could be. And they said, I wonder if it's out there whether or not, like, the Ripper crew brought up the Torado death, or if the cops introduced it, like, hey, we also found this murder. Did you do it?
Yeah.
And they were like, you're not going to get any more time for it, but did you do this?
Yeah.
They'd be like, yeah, we shot him. Whatever. Bam. Case closed.
That could have been somebody's plea. You plead guilty to Torado, we won't kill you.
Yeah, we won't give you the death penalty. Yeah. Maybe that's how the other brother didn't get sentenced to death. Like, who knows?
Could have been.
Wait, who did you say got charged with his murder?
Torado? Spritzer. Which he was originally sentenced to death, so maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense.
But ended up getting commuted.
He ended up getting commuted.
I guess after the fact. So I don't know. I think it's unlikely that they killed Torado. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibilities.
I think it is. I mean, their killings, they were, again, for Gecht's gratification. That's all the killings were.
Yeah.
Torado being killed in a drive-by with a shotgun doesn't match what they were trying to do.
Yeah, and I guess I'll make it more clear. I don't think they did it. However, I don't think it's impossible. Like, if it came out that they actually did do it, I'd be like, yeah, well, they're all crazy as hell and just wanted to shoot somebody. But at the same time, I don't think they did it. I think he was killed in a random act of violence and somebody got away with it.
It is worth noting the one abduction that Gecht did by himself happened that same night that Torado was murdered, and allegedly by the Ripper crew. We were talking about how he had stress in his personal life with him not making enough money. His wife had to work more. Maybe he was emasculated by that, and he felt the need to just go murder someone.
Yeah, maybe he just took a gun out, shot somebody, and went home.
Maybe he was getting pushed back. We also know that he was getting pushed back from the crew because they didn't really want to. Yeah. They were done killing people, and maybe he was like, "All right, come with me," and then he just shot some random guys like an intimidation tactic. Yeah. That's the only way I can see that happening.
Or like even to go further on the intimidation tactic, he shoots them and then goes, "I have all four of you here at the scene of this crime. If you don't keep helping me, I'm going to pin you for this.
But then that same night, he does one by himself. He does an abduction by himself.
Yeah, but he has that dirt on him now. Yeah, so no matter what, he can just be like, yeah, well, I know who killed the Torado guy. He can always hang that over their head, even though they didn't do it. But.
The only way them killing Torado would make sense to me is if Geck did just lose it. Mm-hmm. Like, he lost it. He wanted to just go kill somebody. He saw Raphael on his porch with his friend and just decided, all right, I'm going to kill him. Yeah. Later that night, you have Beverly Washington, who he abducted solo. More of them than not ended up dying from the assault. Yeah. Beverly didn't, likely because Geck was by himself. Yeah. Maybe he just wasn't thinking clearly, and that eventually just led to them getting caught. We'll never know.
We never will. Those are my thoughts. I don't think they killed Torado, however. Yeah. I mean, you can't rule it out, but I don't think it did it. If they did do it, I think it was for dirt.
On the surface, I don't think they did.
No,
if
I
you
definitely
really want
don't.
To dig in, you can probably find a connection. But
yeah, I definitely don't think they killed the other 18 either.
No, in fact, there was no evidence whatsoever of an additional 18 victims. You're going to notice if these... I'm sure there were probably 18 unsolved murders in Chicago in 1982.
Yeah.
But they had a very unique signature. And if those 18 victims didn't have that signature, I mean, again, it's tenuous. Tenuous at best.
Yeah, and if you want to be successful, like, you think back to, and again, I keep saying successful serial killers, but the one thing that always makes them successful is, like, changing their MO a little bit. Like, Bundy went after very wide range of, like, demographics with people. DC Sniper quite literally killed people at random. Like, there was no rhyme or reason. It was just whoever just happened to be standing in the spot they were set up with their gun, that's who's getting shot. Yeah. That's why it was so hard to catch a DC Sniper. And you go on and on. Like, that's why they're so successful, is because there's no rhyme or reason to it. But like these guys, you do the same thing every time, and I mean, eventually someone's going to lead it back to you. It's got your fingerprints all over it.
We know they killed the 6. The 6 that we can positively link to them, of course, they had the signature. They all had their left breast essentially amputated. Mm-hmm. They found evidence of the 6 at the Satanic Shrine. So, I mean, forensics that proves those 6 were victims of the Ripper crew. Mm-hmm. The 18, no evidence whatsoever. No evidence for Torado outside of a confession, which I think we both agree Chicago PD may have just been trying to close cases and took their confessions.
I don't like this group very much.
No.
I'll put it that way.
I told you, like, I ran, after I typed up my outline, I ran it through ChatGPT to just smooth things out, make it flow a little better. Mm-hmm. And I got flagged. It flagged me multiple times.
Really? Like for
just the brutality.
The content? Yeah.
And
pretty nasty stuff.
I had to explain. I was like, hey, I understand what this looks like. Yeah. I'm just writing a paper on a story I'm going to talk about. That's it. It eventually let me do it. But definitely, I would say the most brutal case we've discussed so far.
Yeah, I mean, I would say up until this point, it was Fred and Rose West, but I think this is definitely a good bit worse than Fred and Rose.
Yeah. They're not great.
No, I mean, they're still, like, we're comparing apples to even worse apples here, but it's just the method and the brutality is a little worse.
I think this is, again, our first true sociopath we've covered. Yeah. I'd really like to do more on that, especially if we're going to backlog some of these. Mm-hmm. I'd like to hit all the highlights.
I agree. I want to start doing some because we do some pretty small time stuff sometimes. Yeah. Like we just did Cindy James. Like, I mean, you name it. The things we've done here recently. I'd like to do some big ticket topics too, like Bundy or Gacy. Yeah. Literally, you name any major. Which we did. Timothy McVeigh. That was a pretty big ticket. Yeah. So I want to do some big ones.
When we did Fred and Rose, the Netflix documentary had just released.
That's right. So. Yeah, so it was pretty popular at the time.
We had a lot of plays on that one.
Yeah. I forgot that. I still haven't watched that documentary.
Worth. That's a good one.
I need to, yeah.
That's a good one. That's going to do it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, be sure to rate and review us. It helps us out a lot. Follow us wherever you get your podcast. We give you a new release every week. And tell everybody you know about us. What's it going to hurt? You can find us on YouTube and Instagram. Until next time, this has been Tinfoil Talk.
Love you, bye.